All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regular May 14th meeting. Please join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. We have a decent agenda, but any public input? I know Chief Baker's here, and Fred, is there anything you'd like to say during public session? Input? No? Okay, great. Any correspondence, Mary?
There's no correspondence. There's one person up there.
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm sorry. Does someone want to speak during a public session? You don't have a name there. I apologize. And you might be on mute. No? Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So first thing on our agenda is the minutes from our special meeting on May 1st. Did everybody have a minute to read those? And I would accept the motion.
Motion to accept the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second on the
I'll second.
minutes?
I'll second.
All right, we'll second it. All right. Any other discussion on the minutes of May 1st? Everybody was there. Bobby Joe, you were absent, right?
Mhm.
Okay, great. All in favor? For everybody's mind?
Aye.
And aye. Okay. The record show
An
unanimous and
abstention. Yeah,
one
oh,
exception.
yeah.
Yep. Bobby Joe, thank you. All right. So again, the next thing is the chief's vehicle. This was talked about a lot, but the first selectman approved this dollar amount. If everybody's familiar, it's an F-150, a Tahoe cover with all the lights, the graphics. It's all ready to go for the chief. So the dollar amount is $63,908.66. Does anybody like to make a motion on that?
I'd like to make a motion. We approve the amount of $63,908.66 to come out of the CNR account to purchase the command vehicle for Stony Hill.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion. We have a second. Any other discussion on the chief's vehicle for Stony Hill? I'll try everybody's minds. So I'm going to say an aye.
Aye.
Aye. Bobby's good. All right, let the record show unanimous. The second thing here is the ladder truck, for Stony Hill. It obviously everybody knows it passed on referendum. The fire commission has met. There was two presentations. It went to the Board of Selectmen and they decided to go with the Pierce. And we took an early dollar amount for a purchase. So we're going to go with the 706 number. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the 1706.
Yeah, so I looked at what we could have gained it's due for delivery in September or October. If it gets delivered in September, we could make like $25,000 on that. And that's before the whole ARPA piece. Cause I don't know if I can invest the ARPA piece. And after it'd be like 32. So if it gets delivered in October, we could probably make what they're going to prepay, give us for a prepaid discount. With you factor in the grant money, let's just pay it up front and be done with it. And it'll save us more money that way.
Okay, so I think everybody's been following that. Bobby, do you have any questions on this? Have you been following this along about what's been going on with it? Everybody all on board? So I'd accept the motion for that. But I think the motion has to talk about, John, would you like to?
So I'd like to make a motion that the Board of Finance approves the amount of $1,706,000. A portion of that dollar amount will come out of ARPA funds and the amount of $500,000 to leave the balance of $1,206,000. That's my motion, sorry.
Come out of
Yeah.
CNR.
Not from CNR.
Not
Fund
for,
balance.
right, that's
Oh,
why I
fund
hesitated,
balance.
because I can't, there's not enough in there.
General
That's,
fund.
Yeah, fund
yeah,
balance.
from fund balance,
Fund
sorry.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion, a second. Any other discussion on that big motion? Is there a big paper check or something that we hold or something?
No.
It's the biggest check I ever see.
I'm sure they'll want to wire us.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a big parade and all that.
Man.
All right, I'll try everybody's mind. Everybody in favor, please say saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, let the record show unanimous. Fred, thank you for the work on that. I thought that was a good presentation the other night, and I appreciate the effort. Okay. All right, so we're on our last thing is our controller report.
I know we just approved the $1,206,000 out of fund balance. I did give a handout of where we're kind of at with the fund balance. Of what the last audit had us at 17,930,000, which is 20.44%. What's happened since then? The board transferred 500,000 to the tax stabilization fund, 362,000 to EDC. We sold 2 of the properties in Clark Park. We sold 3, but one's contingent on P&Z approval. I guess they have 1 year. I spoke to Beth late last week. And there's still nothing. They haven't submitted anything.
They have up to the year to.
They have up to a year to get approval, and the sale's contingent on it. So that's not in our 24 adjustments right now. At being in the middle of May, I don't think it's probably not gonna close by the end of June 30th of 24. Excess state revenue right now is $1,061,519, which is the municipal revenue sharing was just over 500,000. And we got over $500,000 in the car tax. When the state mandated what you can set the car tax at, we didn't budget for it because Bethel's mill rate for cars had been below that for a while. So that's why we're over $1 million in excess state revenue. And the projection for excess interest revenue right now, June 30th, is 1.3 million. So when we factor all those in-
1.3 over the 570 that you budgeted for?
No, yes, over
Yeah.
the budget amount.
Yeah, okay.
So when you factor all those before the fire truck, we would have been at 2312. I had 3 other possible adjustments that need to be taken care of, or one you took care of tonight, the 1 million too. Even though we transferred the 362 for their future operations for EDC, at the end of June, we're going to have an outstanding balance that they owe us. The projection's around 265,000. We might as well clean it up sooner than later because now, like, it used to be EDC paid half of Janice's salary. And now the town in the new budget that was approved pays all of it. That number shouldn't really grow anymore. So once the year ends, we should just clean that up.
And before you go to the next one, so that 265 is the balance of selling the properties minus all of the expenses back.
No.
No.
The 265 is the hole that EDC created over the years that was eventually going to be filled when they sold these properties.
Oh, so
Because
we get that money
initially-
back because we already spent.
You got to make the town
Yeah.
whole, right?
Initially, we thought before they developed those properties that EDC would get the money. So we're like, all right, we understand if they create a little bit of hole, it'll backfill when they sell
Because of
them.
properties.
And then when we got in the process of selling them, they went, no, the money's going to go to the general fund.
Well, because we also created a whole other account.
Well, that was
Yeah.
after we figured out
That
it was
was
going to
after
go to
we-
the general fund. Yeah.
So really, like, the transfer to clean up EDC for the 10, 15 years of future and the whole is really like 620. You did the 360 part already, and that was moved into a interest-bearing account. Last week, we got the account set up. At some point, we just have to clear up what they owe us.
Perfect.
So, but just not to go off, we set up an EDC account and Janice's salary's in there. So what? Doesn't her
Half of the
salary-
year wasn't set up for it.
Yeah,
Well, what happens next budget season? We
so July 1.
Yeah.
Right.
All of Janice is on the town side. It's in the general fund budget.
Oh, so it's not going to be EDC. EDC was more maintenance, grass
Yes.
cutting.
That's why it's
So
on the
the
first
360
elected-
is like
Yeah.
a projection like $15,000
Just to keep everything running.
keeping
on
the
that.
park up.
But it
Um,
wasn't her salary
And the salary will be fully.
because she
correct.
does other things for the town also.
Correct.
Okay, just point of clarity that the purchase of fire truck, it's only $6,000, but shouldn't that be 1,700?
Oh,
Yes.
6.
Oh,
Yeah,
six.
he
Oh,
was
six.
just small numbers, just to
Yes.
let
Oh,
us
just
know where we're
small
at. Yeah,
numbers.
just
Okay.
small numbers, right.
Yeah.
Just rounding.
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 Nice.
And the purchase of 159 Greenwood, Wells Fargo right now I have in here for 400,000. That's not what we think we're gonna be able to buy it at. It's what we think we're gonna have to use from fund balance on top of, the first selectman wants to use some LoCIP funds that the town has. So it's a state grant that they give us every year. This current year is 193,000. So obviously we have more than 1 year's worth. So I think he's thinking about using some of that to use the state money to buy the property, assuming we get it.
Are there expiration dates to using that kind of money?
They don't like you to let it sit out there forever, but they haven't really ever given us
Okay,
any.
so it could be a couple of years. is fine.
Yeah, the last time we used it is when they did the roads, the
Knickerbocker
750,000.
did that. Remember he did that big thing?
Yes.
That's
So-
what
I
granted was.
remember, okay, that was quite a while.
So if those three things hit by June 30th, we'd still be at 21%. Obviously, the big piece that we don't know yet, 'cause
Right.
I think the state's gonna announce Monday who's getting the grant for the HVAC.
Mhm.
I have in here the biggest possible based on it, but I think the estimates are just under 2.2.
Yeah.
So my number's high, but again, I kind of like to look at some worst case sometimes. And at some point after we close June 30th, we'd like to fund, I assume the board would like to fund the tax stabilization fund again.
Yeah.
So I have that in there as a possible adjustment, and then just the estimated prices for the sale of the two properties. The 389.5 is what the agreed upon price is, but it's contingent on P and Z approval for what they want to do with the property, which they have, I believe, up to a year. And there's nothing in front of P and Z right now on it. So that in theory will hit sometime in 25. So if all those things happened, even at the HVAC at 2.5, we would dip below the 18, but that assumes no excess revenue, but I ran it out a little bit just to kind of show the board that like we could do the fire truck from fund balance. And if Wells Fargo's 400,000, we may not have to borrow to do, if we do all three of those things.
Right now, it looks like we don't have to.
Right now, it looks like we don't, but
Right.
But it also says that we can't buy anything else.
Well,
Yeah.
besides our CNR, we have money
Well,
for
yeah, those are
emergencies.
small little-
So the back page is CNR. So before tonight in CNR, unallocated was 1,035,000. The board just allocated 64,000 for the chief car. So that brings it to like 960, 970. And then July 1 comes along and there's another million in there. So CNR is a healthy balance of 1.97 right
Mhm.
now. And I put on here what's unallocated for ARPA, and the LOSIP amount has $702,000 in it, currently.
But the 702 is the one that we're thinking for.
That, yes, the
Right,
first
right.
selectman's thinking about dipping
You
into
just showed us
that.
the money side.
Correct.
Right.
I'm
That's
just showing
the total
possibility.
balance.
This is
In
the
that-
total
in that-
monies
in
that we
grant.
have
Correct. No,
without.
in the grant money.
Correct.
Yes.
That's not the amount that he was thinking. I don't think he was gonna empty it.
Yeah.
But, just showing what.
Right
the
now,
fund
there's
balance-
702, got it.
All right,
Well,
so that's
thank
fund
you for
balance.
this. This
Yeah,
is very
Very,
helpful.
very,
Thank you.
right.
for
We'll have to
this.
put an eye on it, right?
So now to run through the controller report. Before I talk about where we're at April 30th, I do want to mention one thing. The state budget that got finalized last week, much to our chagrin, we had a nice surprise. They lowered ECS's amount for Bethel based on what we budgeted by $220,000. Some other districts I heard got $1 million. Dr. Carver's looking into what happened because it doesn't seem like they lowered the amount that they allocated towards ECS. They tinkered with the formula and that to the
Yeah.
last minute.
In her email, she said the magnet schools got put in there. So it was the same money, but it was a more
Yeah.
spread out.
Yeah, that's what she said today. I didn't know. That's what she's hearing right now. She's, I think, working to firm that up.
Yeah.
So
Bottom line, we got less money.
bottom line, we got less money. Obviously it's concerning. Right now, I'm not throwing up huge red flags about it. On our revenue for 25, we budgeted for interest for the coming year at 650,000. 10 months of the year. In this year, we're at 1.5. So right now we'd be over by 850,000 if we got, I'm not saying we're going to get $1.5 million in interest again next year.
Well, we're good,
But if we get
a good number
875,
Yeah. Yeah.
in April, we got almost $200,000 in interest. We get a couple more months like that. If July, August, and September are similar, we've almost hit our budget number in the first 3 months of the year. So we're watching it. The other pieces we won't find out until for a while. Last year was the first time that they ever sent us any revenue sharing, municipal revenue sharing. And that's based on sales tax numbers from June 30th. There's no guarantee. We've never gotten it in the past, But last year we got 500,000. We got that money in October of 23. In October of 24, we could get zero, we could get,
But-
who knows?
But we weren't banking on
We
it.
didn't budget it because we never gotten it. That's why,
You're saying we could pick it up with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're watching it right now. But it is obviously a concern when before July 1 hits, you find out you're $220,000 in the hole
Not fun.
revenue.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm already concerned about now 26. You know, because now ECS is a lower base, you know,
Right, we plug in
and that's a
numbers
full
for
budget
budget,
season,
yeah.
so who knows what they're gonna do.
Can we talk about the Board of Ed a little bit with special ed, the
Yeah.
excess cost?
So the other thing that's going on is the state, for the year we're in, the Board of Ed got reimbursed for special ed at 69.6% or something like, around, no, 68.6, in that 69% range of the special ed above our cost per student. The state for the next upcoming budget is saying you're gonna get 65%. What that equates to for Bethel is roughly $200,000 if everything hits the same way as the current year. Speaking to Christine today is she doesn't know if it's a problem yet because she doesn't know what transportation for special ed is going to be. She doesn't know if kids are going to move into town over summer break. She doesn't know if kids are going to move out of town, you know? But obviously she's concerned about that.
But is she willing to try to find solutions in-house for that?
So I think she's going to make this board aware of it when she knows more of it. She's taking measures to try to make up for it. Dan and I talked about the ECS piece, which last time we got an ECS cut was $1 million. Board of Ed in their operating budget returned at the end of the year 800,000 because they knew it was a cut.
They did cuts it.
Yes. So the conversations we've had so far is we're looking at on the town side to fully eat the ECS cut of 220 right now. And we'll watch it and have conversations with them. If suddenly their excess cost gets fixed, I'm sure they'll work with us. But I don't think we can ask them at this point before the year even starts to share in a $400,000 burden when they have two and we have 220 right now.
But they're willing to put some skin in the game, and we're gonna continue to talk about it.
Yeah, it's not a dead conversation. It's we understand you have a problem too. We have possible solutions to fix ours. Why would we come and ask? We're not asking for you to do
Could
it
be
right now.
reasonable about it, right?
So, but it's part of the conversation. But we met, Dan, Jen, and Christine and I met for an hour today to talk about all these pieces. So. So on to the April 30th. So since our last meeting, I had done a really deep dive into our utilities based on what were projected, because we still have one of the lease payments due for the school solar. We still have our part of our Amoresco payments to come due. So my estimate right now is utilities is going to be over budget by $200,000 to $300,000. Some of the problem is the solar. So this year,
Really?
should pull it up.
Don't get me started.
So right now, we've paid out to Amoresco, who gets paid on what the solar farm creates, more money than we've gotten credits. Give me, I should have pulled it up before, sorry. And the school solar, the ones in the school, I guess some of them were down. We didn't know it. They've been fixed now. So solar right now, my calculations is running in a $50,000 to $100,000 deficit in my projections. So that's part of the problem.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Last year,
That's just
solar
something
did
else.
well for us.
Now,
yeah.
so is it down, but we got all the toilets and lights updated? I mean, is that part of the equation?
So that's the
Because
Amoresco
you
$4.5
have to
million
say,
piece.
Yeah, there was other parts of it.
Right.
Yeah. So the $4.5 million project had nothing to do with solar. That was the lights and all that. And we have, I think it's a 15-year financing through Bank
Okay,
of
so when you're
America.
giving the solar numbers, that solar number is not the
That's
4.5
not
million.
that.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And in the contract, there's a cap also. If it makes too much electricity, they don't have to keep paying us.
Yeah,
It's a great
so-
contract.
Oh, yeah.
Eversource has a cap of, it's like $170,000. But it's, some of it is all on the like timing of when we hit that cap. So the cap's not based on our fiscal year. So last fiscal year, we got $235,000 worth of credits versus we paid Amoresco $166,000.
Okay, so there was a
That-
hundred on the plus side.
That was a good year.
Right.
This year,
It's gonna be lower.
we've got $91,000 worth of credits and we've paid out $101,000.
But there's a credit missing, and hopefully you get it before July 1st.
Yeah, so May and June should be solar
What time does
producing.
it start?
Started.
Okay.
Are you looking for PNC?
There's been some sort of outburst.
All right, so that's part of the problem. We're taking a deeper dive into it because it drives me crazy, the solar. One of the things I want to talk about before the next budget, and we're going to talk a lot about it well, let's talk a lot about before the next budget, is how do we want to budget utilities in the future? Because if we're gonna have
Spikes.
$100,000 swings in this, I don't want to just throw an extra 100,000 in there and go, well, you know, if we have a good year, great. But I also need the board to understand when it swings back the other way, that we're gonna have a problem.
With all these tight budgets.
Yeah.
So maybe it's 50, to
Right.
give it a little cushion.
Yeah, so we'll have to look
The
at it.
whole point of like, when you lock in rates is so that you have some sort of predictability and
Yeah.
consistency. And this is not it.
Yeah, so our electric supply rate is locked in at 8.1,
Right,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
But
The other thing we have for next budget, not to stress anybody out, we're currently locked in for electric through December of 25. So all of this the budget we just finished and half of the next budget. We're starting the process now of looking at locking out. You can only lock out 5 years in the future. So we're now, because electric price is actually dipping again. We're starting the process of getting prices to lock up the out years. Right now, it's probably going from 8 to 10, which 10's a good number if you know what you're paying for your electric. But it's still going to be 25% up in supply. So utilities for 26 is going to be a mess, and we haven't even started 25 yet. But we're going to get a better handle on the solar to understand it. The good news is, on the health insurance, I project we're going to have $150,000 to $200,000 worth of savings by the time we allocate off the water and sewer. On salary line, because we've had some vacancies, we have $100,000 to $150,000 worth of savings. So I don't think we're in the position that we were in last year, because we have some other things that are coming in lower too. I think we're going to be able to make up the utilities. But it's like last year we talked about utilities was a problem. Park and Rec was a problem. Fleet was $100,000 problem.
Yeah, there was a bunch of big problems, you're right.
Yeah, so Fleet, knock on wood, is doing pretty well, other than the OT, which we increased for this upcoming budget year. Rachel says she's in a good spot with hers because of the adjustment.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that utilities and legal, I think legal's gonna be over.
Yeah.
That could be
Learning
over by
curve.
100.
Right.
Might be 150. We don't know until,
Why's it gonna be over?
because we never budget enough for legal.
And
Is the
the new
short of
town
it.
attorney's digging into a lot of issues, so there's more. I
Um,
feel that they have their arms around it.
Yeah, so, so those legal and utilities are the two problems right now, and hopefully they're the only problems, and we have enough to make up for it.
But you have some good stories in there too, so.
Yeah,
Right.
so,
legal, you mean professional services?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So,
Check that.
but overall, besides those two, I think we're in some good spots, especially in health and salaries. And the salaries is we've had some vacancies that took a long time to fill. We have vacancies now that we're working on trying to fill, but they might take a while. So,
How many are vacant? How many vacancies do you think?
right now, our network administrator, our head IT guy left.
Yeah.
And the assistant health director, left. So
And that's it, the two?
those are the two. We have a retirement coming up in I think this week, right? Tomorrow in the town clerk's office.
And she's still here?
Oh, Eileen?
Or is she on
Yes.
vacation?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
She's here.
okay. So she's still.
But that I think they have somebody to fill that position. And we're doing second interviews tomorrow for the IT.
I think I have a good shot.
Oh, yeah, get right in there now. Throw
So-
your hat in the ring.
Obviously, on the revenue side, things look great because we have the excess state revenue, but unfortunately, they're different buckets, you know,
Yeah, we understand that.
which we talked about last year.
Mhm.
So that's my comptroller report.
Your color looks better this year than last year. Last year, you were just looking a little pale. Yeah.
Yeah, your
That's what
color.
you were looking for a
He's,
little
he's
bit.
pinking up a little bit.
Because
He's
because
walking a lot more.
we weren't talking much at the end. You didn't see me at the end of April when I was digging into the utility.
Right,
Oh
that's
my
my point.
gosh.
I want to make a motion to accept Brad's report.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
Uh,
Bobby Joe, did you have any question? I'm sorry, you were quiet up there. You good, Bobby? Oh, good. Okay. All right. Thank you, Brad.
thanks,
Thank you
Brad.
for giving us some of this information that we're tracking, obviously.
This spreadsheet of the money, how we're spending it was just
Yeah,
very
just
clear.
put it in front of
Well
you.
done.
No, I love this. This is fantastic.
Does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Bobby, thank you. All right, thank you, everyone.
agree. It is such a stand.